Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Belmont Park here on Sunday. It is the 28th of May, 2023. Gonna look at the 7th race from Belmont, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean around the world. Let's look at the 7th race from Belmont, which is an allowance optional claimer purse $100,000. Race for 3-year-olds and upwards, never won 18,000 twice in main claim starter or state bred allowance race, or which never won 3 races. Claim price $62,500. Looking over all the horses, none of them are in for that claiming price, so it's a straight allowance race. 5 of them are going to the main track, the distance of ground of 1,800 meters, or the distance of ground of a mile and 1/8 on the aqueduct. Excuse me, on the Belmont main track. 1,800 meters, a mile and 1/8 main track. And at Aqueduct in Saratoga, you see a lot of mile and 1/8 races because they can't run the mile 16th. But here at Belmont, you don't see a lot of these dirt mile and 1/8 races, which I find a little weird at times, because it's a good distance, and some of these races with this kind of division at Aqueduct over the winter was a really good one, I thought. But only a 5-horse field in this one. It's kind of short here, but I think any of these 5 probably can win. My top selection, I'm going to go with 4-horse Galt. This 4-year-old colt by Medaglia de Oro. Belmont trains. Javier Castellano gets the mounts. The horse's most recent outing came the 29th of April at Aqueduct on a sloppy going 1 mile and off 6-2 claimer. He finished second by a half a length that day. He sat back early, a little bit wide, which was the best part of the track that day. The rail was basically soup underwater. But this horse was gaining late. He just missed. Not a bad race at all. Coming back around a 1-turn mile and 1/8. Should get a good trip from the outside, slowly move his way up. I think he get the job done to get a good victory and find a winner's circle again. 2 back in option 6-2 at Gulfstream. Mile 16th, 12th of March. He finished 4th by 8 lengths that day. He was very wide and first start since June of 2022. He probably need the race there. And then June of 2022 here at Belmont, 1 mile on the mud in optional 80. He won by a neck, and he sat back early, a little bit wide, a little bit bumping that day, but he got the job done. A very good gritty performance. Major improvement off the race before, which was the Louisiana Derby at the Fairgrounds over the mile 3/16. He wasn't catching epicenter that day. He finished 5th by 8 lengths that day, and he just never really got into it. A few weeks prior to that in the Fountain of Youth, he lost Joel around the far turn. What can you do? That's when Wide Barrier and Simplification, all of them, came out. Keep in mind that Fountain of Youth of 2022 was a great race. Wide Barrier was the next start winner. Simplification was the next start winner. Mo Donegal was the next start winner. Went on to win 2 starts after that also, Mo Donegal by winning last year's Belmont. So he got beat by better form that day, and then before that he broke the main at Gulfstream very nicely at a mile 16th optional in a main special weight on Boxing Day, winning by 3 lengths. He really took off clear. Coming here training well, I think he could find the winner's circle. I think his second likeliest winner is a 2-horse Curbstone. Last time out on late March at Aqueduct going a mile and 1/8 option 45, he won by 4 1/4 lengths, and he took off clear late. He basically walked home. A very good run. Before that, Manny Franco schooled Mady over the mile and a quarter at Aqueduct. An inexperienced rider going a mile and a quarter should have got the horse a little bit close to the pace that day. But good skate who won really took off clear on the front end and took off and won for fun. This horse was just way too far out of it with those soft fractions that day. It wasn't her day to win. And then late January at Aqueduct, mile 8th in the Star Lounge race, winning by 12 1/4. This horse really took off quite nicely, coming home with career best 96 Buyer. Coming here to Belmont, training well. I'll give this horse a shot on the ticket at 5-2 off the bench. It wouldn't surprise me. The 1-horse Tonal Impact wouldn't surprise me either. He's a bit of a closer here. He won a couple starts back in late January in an allowance race at Aqueduct quite nicely, winning by 4 1/4 lengths. Before that, placed on the sloppy on gasoline in a very good allowance race over the mile 3/16 at Aqueduct in early January. Nothing bad about that run. Another horse, in that division for those older horses at Aqueduct over the winter, he was always running these good races. Wouldn't surprise me. Linda Rice's horses have been really running quite nicely this month of May. I'll use this horse on the ticket. Also talking about the 5-horse back ring luck for Dave Jacobson. Another trainer, his horse has been running. His horse coming on the quick turnaround also ran last Sunday here at Aqueduct or at Belmont, and placed in a claiming 50,000, stepping down in class. Before that, he ran against very tough competition at Oakland, but this race is not nearly as tough as those horses. It wouldn't surprise me if this horse gets a good trip. I'll use him on the ticket. But to recount my selection for the 7 from Belmont, gonna take the 4-horse here, Galt. Gonna go 4-2-1-5 Super, 4-2-1-5. even use the 3 also, I would guess, in the pick 4, because this is a very wide open race. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5. Good luck, everybody.